I used to think passion was something you stumbled upon, something like a lightning bolt of clarity that would finally tell me what I was supposed to do with my life. So I waited. I chased jobs. I tried new hobbies. I watched others with envy. People who looked like they knew. People who talked about their calling like it was their birthright. And because I hadn't found mine yet, I thought something was wrong with me. But here's the truth. There was never anything to find. See, passion isn't something you discover. It's something you build. You build it by showing up. You build it by experimenting. You build it by staying curious and putting in the reps, even when it's unclear. See, the myth of finding your passion has held a lot of people back. It's made us wait for certainty before we even move. It's made us feel broken for not being obsessed with something yet. It's tricked us into believing that fulfillment is passive, that it shows up when the timing is just right. But here's the hard truth. Passion isn't discovered. It's crafted through work, through trying, through momentum. Welcome back to Hard Truths, the podcast where we break through the noise, challenge the way you think, and talk about the things that are really holding you back. Today's episode is for anyone who feels stuck, anyone who's been waiting for a sign, a spark, or the perfect answer. This is your permission to stop waiting and start building. So let's talk about it. Let's start by unpacking the myth itself. The idea of finding your passion. It sounds inspiring, but it's also incredibly misleading. It tells you there's one perfect thing out there just waiting to be uncovered. And until you do, you're incomplete. But here's where the story comes from. It's a byproduct of a culture obsessed with identity labels. We ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? As if one answer will define their worth. We glorify entrepreneurs, artists, and athletes who seem to have a singular, lifelong calling. But you see those stories? They're oversimplified. Even Steve Jobs, the guy most people associate with visionary passion, admitted in his Stanford commencement speech that connecting the dots only made sense looking backwards. He followed curiosity. He tried things. He dropped out. He calligraphied. He wandered. Then he built. He built something that became his passion. And this narrative is everywhere. Movies show characters finding their calling in one magical montage. Influencers talk about quitting their job and suddenly blowing up. But behind every one of those highlight reels is a timeline full of doubt, dead ends, experiments, and quiet reps no one saw. The truth is, the myth fails you in 3 ways. Number 1, it puts pressure on clarity. See, if you don't have the answer, you feel stuck, frozen, like you're behind. You start thinking there's something wrong with you for not knowing. Number 2, it makes you passive. See, you wait for a spark instead of chasing momentum. You keep scrolling for inspiration instead of getting your hands dirty. You start looking for the right thing instead of building real skills. And number 3, it blinds you to reality. Most people don't fall into passion. They build it, bit by bit, through showing up, following interest, and seeing where it leads. And it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like showing up for a job you're unsure about. Sometimes it looks like trying a side project that no one claps for. See, passion is built through repetition, not revelation. So if you've been feeling like something's wrong because you haven't found it yet, this segment is your wake-up call. You're not broken. You're just early in the process. You don't need a map. You just need a starting point. So let's talk about what to do instead. Let's get honest about what passion actually looks like. Because it's not always excitement, clarity, or a burning purpose. Sometimes it starts as something way more subtle: curiosity. See, passion doesn't usually arrive with fireworks. It begins as a spark, an interest, a moment of, I kind of like this. And that spark, you see, it only grows when you feed it with time, effort, and repetition. Take almost any high performer, artist, athletes, creators, entrepreneurs, and dig into their story. You'll see the same pattern. They didn't start with a clear passion. They started with effort. And as they kept showing up, something incredible happened. Their brain, it rewired. And neuroscience shows that repeated engagement strengthens neural pathways. The more you do something, even if you're unsure, the more your brain says, this matters. So you build confidence through competency. And from that competency, passion is born. In her book, Grit, psychologist Angela Duckworth explains that passion is not about instant clarity. It's about long-term consistency of interest and effort. What looks like passion on the outside is often someone who stuck with something long enough to fall in love with the process, not just the result. This is why people often say, I found my passion by accident. Because they were in the motion, because they were experimenting, failing, learning, because they gave themselves the permission to try without waiting for certainty. So what does passion actually look like? It looks like signing up for something you're bad at just to see if it sticks. It looks like feeling unsure, but curious enough to show up anyways. It looks like small wins piling up over time until suddenly you're the kind of person who loves what they do. And let's be clear, passion isn't always a job. It doesn't have to be monetized or made into a brand. It can be a craft, a cause, a side project, a skill that lights up your brain. You see the only mistake? Waiting for it to arrive fully formed. Before we talk about how to build passion, we need to address something deeper. Why do so many people quit before they ever discover what lights them up? It's not because they're lazy. It's because the early stages of building anything feels awkward, unrewarding, and quite frankly, uncertain. We're conditioned to expect passion to feel exciting right away. But the truth is, the beginning often feels like friction. You're not good yet. You don't feel qualified. You're not getting feedback or results. And you're comparing yourself to people who are years ahead. See, that gap between where you are and where you want to be can feel demoralizing. And that's where most people bail. And it's understandable. But here's the reframe. That friction, that's not failure. It's formation. Neuroscience backs this up. In the beginning, your brain is laying new wiring. That takes energy. That takes repetition. And most importantly, it takes time. The reward chemicals, like dopamine, come after the reps, not before. Angela Duckworth calls this the grit phase. The part where it's not fun yet, but sticking with it through that phase is what separates dabblers from builders. As James Clear says in Atomic Habits, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And building passion, that's a system. One that requires emotional tolerance for the boring, the awkward, the uncertain. So if you've started something and didn't feel magically good, that means you're in the middle of the process, not the end of it. Let's talk now about how to keep going and build something that lasts. Let me share the 5 things that help me go from waiting for passion to building one I actually feel connected to. This isn't theory. These are the things I did, things I still do. First, I followed energy, not clarity. See, I stopped trying to figure out what my thing was, and I started paying attention to what made me lean in, even slightly. Things like a video topic I couldn't stop thinking about, or a skill I didn't mind failing at. I didn't know where it would go, but it gave me movement, and movement gave me information. So start noticing the moments that made you feel even 5% more alive. I want you to start following those threads. Don't wait for a calling. Track the cues. Write down one thing each day that made you curious, lit you up, or felt easy to lose time in. Second, I took imperfect action. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I signed up, I built, I launched, I applied. I spoke up even when my voice shook. Most of it was messy, but momentum beats overthinking every single time. See, you learn 10 times faster in motion than in theory. So, next time, stop trying to get it perfect. Take one step towards the thing you're curious about, even if it's clumsy. You'll learn more from the doing than from all your planning. Action builds clarity. Third, I committed to 30 reps. Not one try, not a weekend sprint. I gave things a real shot. I wrote 30 posts, recorded 30 episodes, studied 30 hours. Because passion isn't always instant. It's built in patterns. Reps don't just build skill, they build belief. So what I want you to do is pick one thing you're exploring and commit to 30 repetitions. Track it. Stick with it. You'll be shocked what you discover after 30 real attempts. Fourth, I tracked emotional feedback. After I did the thing, I reflected. I asked myself, did I feel energized? Did I lose track of time? Was there a part of that I wanted more of? I started noticing themes. Certain tasks lit me up more than others. That's how I found alignment. Not through a quiz, but through honest self-observation. So what you should do? After every session, ask, did that energize or drain me? Write down your answers, and over time, you'll see what patterns you're meant to follow. And lastly, I let it evolve. My passion didn't stay in one lane. It grew, it morphed, and I gave it permission to. See, I let go of needing to figure it out and focused on staying in it. That gave me the freedom to explore and refine without guilt. What you should do? Stop forcing your path to look linear. Let your curiosity lead. Stay consistent, but flexible. See, it's okay to pivot. Growth requires movement. Here's what I've learned. If you treat passion like a destination, you'll always feel lost. But if you treat it like a craft, it starts to feel real. Passion isn't magic, it's maintenance. And it's built one rep, one risk, one reflection at a time. So here's a hard truth. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're just early in the process of becoming someone who builds something meaningful. Stop waiting for lightning. Start building the spark. You don't need a perfect vision. You need motion. You don't need a master plan. You need reps. And the most powerful thing you can do this week, pick something, anything, and show up for it. Messy, curious, and commit to learning. Because that's where passion lives. Not in clarity, but in commitment. Tag me at DannyLyvin, DANNYLYVIN, and tell me what you're committing 30 reps to. I wanted to see the beginning of your story. This is Hard Truths. And today's truth? You don't find passion. You build it. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.